Howdy, pilgrims. Just come down off the high country, off of the mountain. Cold up there, real cold. Got frostbite in my fingers, frostbite in my toes, frostbite in my banjo string, frostbite in my balls. Got fleas in my beard, fleas in my pubes, fleas down my jap. But hey, there ain't no women up there anyway. Not that far up the hills. So come on down to Kilt-Man's trading outpost. Got some mean moonshine in here. He's a hooch machine, is Kilt-Man. What's this stuff he got given me? Glenfiddich. A single malt Scotch whiskey. That's hooch to you and me. Let's see what we got in here. Boy. It's like beaver sweat. You know what I'm saying. I've been up there for a long time, and beaver sweat is like fine wine to me. Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very well. Now let's get some music going. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very well. Now, here's a wee little movie review, which I've been meaning to do for about the last 5 days. But you know me, I've been out and about every time. And I got all set up last night to do this very video. I sat here, had all these things behind me, all worked out. Music was a-playing. I had this incredibly, really warm, really warm jacket on. And I discovered I had a huge spot there. We can probably see it. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still there. And I went, ugh! It's like, Keith Carradine in not Southern Comfort. He's in Southern Comfort, but not that movie. Also for Walter Hill, The Long Riders. He gets shot through the face. Like that. It hits him on one side, comes out to the other side. It's like, like that. He survives it, but not much of a kisser afterwards. And it's a big bullet wound there. And I thought, I can't have that. Yes, ex-Royal Marines, and as vain as they come, I'm like a Hollywood diva. No, I can't do a video with a big horseradish on the side of my face. So, anyway, we're going to do it now. We're talking mountain men. Yeah, rugged, adventurous, outdoorsy types. The kind of people that we're not. And I've done outdoor survival training, and I couldn't live like that. I couldn't. It's Sydney Pollack's 1972 movie, Jeremiah Johnson, played by Robert Redford. In the second of 7 movies they made together, and it was Redford that got Sydney Pollack to do this. Originally, you had, other directors were lined up for it, other stars were lined up for it, and you had Clint Eastwood and Lee Marvin at one stage were going to play Jeremiah Johnson. But at one stage, Sam Peckinpah was directing it, and of course, pioneers of the modern, or what we take modern westerns, the revisionist westerns, Sam Peckinpah, Clint Eastwood, didn't like each other. Old Clint hates Sam Peckinpah. So it didn't happen. So Clint Eastwood walked to do Dirty Harry instead, and Sam Peckinpah walked to do either Junior Bonner or The Getaway, around about the same sort of time, 1972. So Redford comes on board to play the eponymous, mythic, folkloric, legendary Jeremiah Johnson. And he brings his friend Sydney Pollack on board, who doesn't really want to do it. Like what? Outdoorsy stuff. Out in the wilds. Violence with Native Americans. Grizzly bears. Wolf packs. Snow. What? We work on the back lot in Hollywood. We don't make movies out in the real wilderness. Think about it. And they did think about it. And very akin to Michael Mann and Daniel Day-Lewis in the run-up, the long run-up to their doing The Last of the Mohicans. Magnificent movie, of course. They would go out with oldie flintlock rifles and muskets and go and hunt in the woods for months beforehand, ruminating on nature and on the character of the the characters of the characters, their stoic nature, and to live off the land. So to get a real feel, that's method acting and method directing taken to the nth degree. Well, Redford and Pollack did the same sort of thing. Went up into the hills, into the wilds, fished, hunted, sat together under the stars, and do what grown men do together under the stars. They get drunk. They get drunk is what they do. So, there. Have a wallop of this Glenfiddich here. It's a reet bitch. There you go. Bellicose as well. Cheers, y'all. And then they made this movie, which is a rugged, beyond budget, very meagre budget they were given for it, and a lengthy shoot all around Utah. It's set in Montana, the Rockies in Montana, but they filmed it in over, like 100 locations in and around Utah. High mountains, lower valleys, streams, rivers, hillsides, high prairies, and also lower deserty type conditions. So it's got a lot of different colours to this movie, and it's one of the most beautiful films that I've ever seen. So 72 it gets made. You're hearing the soundtrack playing behind me now. Look guys, you know you're going to be in for like a bit of a long haul with this one. I love this movie. The soundtrack is by John Rubinstein and Tim McIntyre, who were both actors, friends, musicians, but this was their first movie score that they did together. You'll know John Rubinstein because he's in one of my favourite B movies of all time, The Car, 77, with James Brolin. The Car, a demonic sedan travelling around the New Mexico desert, killing people left, right and centre until he meets Sheriff Wade, James Brolin. But John Rubinstein plays one of the victims, who's a hitchhiker with a French horn, who's annoying the likes of the old cantankerous R.G. Armstrong, who then threatens to ram his French horn up his ass, and then he wears a fart music. And Rubinstein, before getting mowed down by The Car, says like, wouldn't that be great to be able to fart music? And then begins to fart and raspberry to his heart's content before getting mowed down. Anyway, so you're going to hear that score all throughout this. I love outdoors movies, and now that the weather's turned in the UK to, well, we're in December now. It's winter time. It's actually incredibly mild, which means we're in for like a long, wet winter. You get to January and February, yeah, that's when the temperature drops in this country. But the temperature has dropped down a little bit, but it's way, way too mild to be wearing the likes of this. So this may get stripped off at some point to reveal a cavalry vest. Yes. So anyway, Jeremiah Johnson, based on the real life character of John Garrison, who was an American-Mexico War veteran who had served on an American ship and had chinned an officer on the ship, and then to avoid, getting done for that, like, he fled. Went all around America. He gold prospector, he hunted, he built cabins, he was a logger, he did everything to make some dosh, make some moolah, and keep, the wolves from the bay. The bay door. And but other rumours say that he was a father to 6 kids, and he was an abusive dad to them. And in the end, he went, screw all this. I'm going to live in the mountains. As a lot of people did back in those days. Fuck this. Society's wrong. Hate towns. Hate the big cities. Just hate people. So head up to them hills where there's nobody around. Get himself a trusty rifle, and I'll live off the land. And a lot of them did it. And he became legendary. Mainly because he's known as liver-eating Johnson. See, the name John Garrison, he apparently changed his name from Garrison to Johnson. Jeremiah Johnson. He had a feud with the Crow Indians. And, the film takes all this in. So let's give the background to it. He has a feud with the Crow Indians who, they kill his wife. And now in reality, there's no real reason why they did this. Nothing's written down. If you know the story, then you'll know there's various folkloric reasons and motives behind it, but nothing's written in stone. As all these Western legends, nothing is written in stone. It's written in the sand, written in blood, written in lead, brother. And but they kill his wife after he's away on a hunting trip. He comes back, finds her murdered and scalped, goes on a vendetta and starts killing. Well, the legend will say 300 plus Crow Indians were killed by him, scalped by him, and had their livers eaten by him. And he became notorious. And in the end, what the Crow would do is that because he became big medicine, oh God, he's huge, he's mythical. We can't send a raiding party to take him out. We can't send a squad. We've got to do it one-on-one, mano a mano, and that's where you're going to get the big, bad medicine off him. So they'd send individual warriors out, and this went on for years and years and years, and he killed every single one. And his mythical stature just grew and grew. Towns and provinces all knew about Liver-Eating Johnson, known as Jeremiah to me and you. And the legend grew and grew and grew. And he meant to have killed, 300 plus or whatever. And in the end, the Crow was kind of like, oh, fuck this. Got no chance against you. Friends, parlay, and they became friends again. And the vendetta was over. And then he moved around the country and did other jobs. He came down from the mountains and did other things. Lived a long fucking... For people back in those days. And we saw... Well, his mountainside tenure would be 1840s to 1870s, I would say. Give or take. So you're talking mid to later 19th century. Life was hard back in those days, Pilgrim. So, he lived to his 70s. He had a good, long life. It's the outdoor life. Fresh meat. Not overproduced with all additives and shit put into it. That's how to live. Anyway. The movie depicts this pretty well, but it deviates in certain ways. The movie just resides with the mountain man aspect of Jeremiah Johnson, who in the film, he arrives on the Judith River on the ferry, and so it's Montana. It's all filmed in Utah, but all the place names and areas they use are meant to be Montana. And he arrives there after the American-Mexico War in his cavalry uniform and all that, and he's looking for a Hawken rifle. And the Hawken rifles were the de rigueur of firepower back in those days. They were, muzzle loaders, single shot, round shot, and in 30 caliber and 50 caliber or more. You could go beyond that, but that'd be very rare to find that. And initially at the trading outpost at the Judith River ferry terminal, that's what we call them on the banks of the Mersey, ferry terminals. I don't think you called it back in those days, but everywhere you go, I'm beset by Native Americans. I love them, I does. And anyway, he can't find a 50 caliber, but he gets a 30 caliber, and straight away he's up in the mountains. And Redford gives a bit of an opening narration about not the backstory. The whole film is like a ballad. It's a tone poem. It's lyrical. It's tranquil, but stuff with explosive violence and a bit of comedy and some great interactions and fabulous scenery, of course. So he gets a 30 caliber Hawken, but it's still a Hawken to him, so it's okay. And he goes up into the mountains, struggles with lighting fires and living off the land initially, but he knows he wants to leave the world he knew behind and go and do something completely random and new and dangerous and adventurous and exciting. So he does this. And then climbing a bit higher, I think he loses, he's got two horses with him. One just goes, I'm not going up there, I'm going to lay down here and die. So basically it does. And he goes further up and he meets Hatchet Jack. Hatchet Jack is dead. Hatchet Jack is frozen to death. His legs have been mauled by a grizz. It's a grizzly bear. and he's found himself against an overturned tree, and he's laid against that, and he's got a 50 caliber Hawken rifle in his hand, his frozen, stiff, dead hands. But he's managed to write himself a note to any passerby. It says like, whoever you are, I give my rifle to you. It's a Hawken 50 caliber. Even the writing has an accent. It's a little scrawled piece on his chest, and it's just frozen like that. And it's actually Robert Redford's stunt double playing the part of Hatchet Jack, and does an amazing job. This is 1972. They did not have prosthetics and head molds as convincing as this to have the camera on this guy for as long as it is. You know what they've done? It's just frozen. Literally, they freeze the frame, but you won't know it. They've just kept it because no one can keep their breath and their eyes, under the weight of, icicles as long as this guy does. But it's Redford's stunt double sitting there, frozen to bits, and it says like, whoever finds this rifle, and I hope it's a white man, this rifle killed the bear that killed me, that took my leg from under me and all that, like, so I hope it serves you well. And of course, it's the rifle that Redford wanted, so he has to break it out of this guy's frozen dead hands, gets it, off he goes. He's got the rifle, he's got 2 Hawken rifles now. And he will begin to move further up the hills, up the mountains, above the snow line, and and he's basically finding out how to fish. Earlier on, you see him fishing in the river. It's freezing. It's not frozen, but it's freezing cold. And Redford, they could do it in like literally 10 or 15 second shots because he was freezing in this water, and he can't catch any fish. And he meets, I forgot the guy's name now. I'll keep doing this. I have copious notes. He meets a Crow Indian called Paints His Shirt Red, who just is on his horse, just watching this crazy white dude fucking about with the fish, and he's just like, you ain't got a fucking clue, have you? And then just rides off. There's no argy-bargy here. Now, you'll see this guy a lot, well, periodically throughout the movie. Paints His Shirt Red is played by Joaquin Martinez, an American-Mexican actor who played the warlord, the renegade Apache Ulzana in Robert Aldridge's great, tremendous, brutal, pulverizingly nasty Burt Lancaster starring western Ulzana's Raid, which I have reviewed big time on the channel. I'll put a link to that if I remember, which is unlikely, so remind me at some point. But yeah, so he plays Paints His Shirt Red, who apparently is an amalgamation of a lot of different Crow Indians, who could have been one of Jeremiah Johnson's first friends up there. Because initially he's a friend of the Crow Indians. Anyway, as time goes by, he will meet, I've got this guy's name as well, Bear Claw Chris Lapp, known as Bear Claw or Bear Paws, and he's a real character as well. Bear Claw Chris Lapp, played by Will Geer. I'm getting old, folks, and this is taking its toll. Will Geer was in Winchester 70, the classic Winchester 73, about the Winchester rifle, getting passed from owner to owner, and everyone's fighting to get this prized rifle. It's a great movie. Well, he plays Wyatt Earp in that, but he's much older now. He's grizzled, and he's a proper, mountain boy, Cheers, y'all. And he comes across Robert Redford, and he's like, Redford's, you've been trailing me. I heard you about 5 days ago. I've been smelling you for 3. You ain't got a clue what you're doing, have you, youngster? What are you doing up here? And these two will form an early bond and become mentor and trainee, apprentice mountain man. So Redford says to him, what are you doing up here? And he goes, why are you here? Hunting grizz. He's going, grizz? Look, even you and me can work that out. Us suburbanites, can work out. Oh, you mean grizzly? Yeah. Yeah, you good at skinning? I can skin anything, Okay, right. So he takes him down to, he's got a fantastic log cabin. It's all snowy wasteland, forested and all that. He's got a lovely log cabin there. And he says, like, before they arrive at it, he's still about like half a mile away. He says to Redford, to Jeremiah Johnson, go in, make yourself at home, you'll find something to drink, something to eat, stoke that fire. I'll be back in a minute. And like, so Redford goes in there and everything's lovely, yeah. Cushy la. And he hears like, goes to the other doorway and he sees there's Bearclaw, what's his fucking name? Bearclaw Chris Lapp legging it with a grizzly bear running down after him, fucking coming after him. And he's like, he's eating something, he just goes, ugh. And like, in a great shot, because like Chris Lapp runs in there, Bearclaw runs in, he's like, let's see you skin this one, Pilgrim, and runs out the back in one unbroken shot. And the bear goes, and you hear all tuffles and tussles and scruffles and scraffles and lots of argy-bargy taking place, furniture overturned. And the old guys are going, hee 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 hee, go get him, boy. And then like, you hear a gunshot. And then they're eating the grizzly. So he's learned to kill the grizzly now. And it's a great, before, those of you who don't know the movie and are a bit wary of outdoorsy adventure movies like this, which I usually am, because usually in these films you get animals dying, they get hunted, usually in this kind of film you've got the hero and his trusty canine companion, his dog, and you bet your ass, bet your bottom dollar, that dog in these outdoor adventure movies is going to go up against the grizzly and defend the hero and die in the process. I've seen so many of that. So you're always wary of these animal deaths. And there are a fair few. But this is none of the animal deaths in this are going to bother any of us at all. They're just not going to do it. It doesn't dwell on it at all. And the hunting aspect, well, look, I was brought up as a hunter with my father, Big Kilt Papa. And you guys know all the stories, I told you all the stories, hunting deer in the Mull of Kintyre, but not with rifles, with a camera, because I turned my back on hunting at a young age. Just couldn't do it. We all can hunt, and if you had to, you're going to kill anything that moves and you're going to eat it, and eat it raw if you have to do it to survive. You'll do anything to survive. Mankind began as hunters. Simple as that. You didn't have supermarkets, you didn't have the shopping mall, you had to go and hunt. You want to eat, you got to go and kill that thing over there and then eat it. That's what you got to do. Got to learn how to make fire and cook it as well. That helps as well. Massive learning curve in the early days. So, so I understand the whole hunting ethos. I do. It's trophy hunting I can't stand, and I will take anyone out who is a trophy hunter. If I meet you, I'll hunt you, see how you fucking like it, and I'll have your head on the wall of Kilt Mansion. On that note, cheers, y'all. Well, god damn it, we've emptied that one. I guess it's kind of lucky that I have this one in reserve. Yeah, although that's already been chiseled into as well. Right, so anyway, they've killed the grizz, they've eaten that. He's learning bits and bobs, and he's got the 50 caliber Hawken. He's learning how to shoot that as well. So don't go underneath the horse, put it over the top of the horse, and like taking buffalo out and that, like. And then obviously Jeremiah Johnson will realise, look, I came up here to be alone, and I'm kind of sick of you old coot. I almost said something else there. I've sucked up all your wisdom now, like, so I'm off. You take care now, Pilgrim. Remember what I told you, keep your nose to the wind, and keep your hair on your head. Injuns, keep your hair on your head. And of course, this is Robert Redford, who has grown a really big bushy beard, which looks amazing. And of course, being a big Hollywood star at the time, like, Redford was a good-looking guy, and with uber blonde, almost strawberry blonde, goldenish hair, and his beard's very dark now. It's very much russety brown. And but being a Hollywood star, the studio's like, look, we want people to see his face, even though Redford's always had those. Let's be good about spots up here. You have those great big moles or warts or whatever you call them, dunk, 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 like the Predator triangular, you know, zeroing in laser sights. Yeah, he has them there, doesn't he? Good looking bastard though, so I can pick him apart for something, can't I? But his hair looks amazing. It's so blonde, you know, but goldenish, you know, against the white background, the snow and all that. Looks incredible. So off he goes with his big beard. And what happens next? I'm trying to think what happens next. Well, basically, he stumbles across a raided farmstead. This is lower down beneath the snow line. He's been travelling around, and you know, people know he's up there and all that. Like, and he meets Crazy Woman, played by Alan Ann McCleary, who is, you've seen this sort of scene a million times, even recently in the Christian Bale movie Hostiles, about Comanche Indians and atrocities committed. It's a homestead. Everyone's been killed, scalped, bodies everywhere, kids are being killed, and the crazy woman's there. She's the mother, obviously, and she was real. She was a known. This happened, and in reality, all the mountain men knew her and would bring her food and look after her. And the Indians wouldn't, after the attack had happened, they wouldn't ever bother her again because she'd gone crazy. And certain tribes believe certain things about crazy people, and you know, all this big bad medicine there. All they believe that crazy people have got enormous amounts of strength, and like, so she should be revered. But they don't bother her again. But in the film, Redford comes across her, like, there's little bodies there, and she runs down with like a musket, you know, in his face. He's like, no, I'm a friend, you know, and all this. And we've got some bodies to bury. So he helps her bury the bodies, and she won't really talk. In reality, she never spoke again. She does speak in the movie, but not much. There's a lot of screaming, and she does some singing at the grave. Shall we gather at the river? You know, that thing, you know. And he goes into the cabin there, and he finds there's another survivor. There's another lad there and he does not speak. Now, in reality, this didn't happen. He met the crazy woman, but he didn't. There was no other kid there. And the kid's like, what, early teens, and doesn't speak a word. And he rebuilds their house, their cabin for him, fixes the door, does the graves, feeds her. But she won't come in. She stays out by the graves of her family. And then he's like, look, I've got to go now. And the kid doesn't speak. And he's just going like, look, I've got to go. He begins to ride off and goes, oh, fuck this. You two better come with me. I'll take you down to the Judith, get you on the ferry and all that, and get you out of here. But then he realizes again, that ain't going to happen. And she comes running down to him, and she gives him an Italian bounty hunter cap-lock pistol. And she basically, take that, and take him, take the kid. I'm staying here. I'm not sure if she says that, or you just kind of get the impression she says that. Doesn't do a lot of talking. And anyway, so he goes like, oh, fuck's sake, all right. He came up, don't forget, he went to the mountains to be alone, to get away from society, from families, from obligations, just to be beholden to no one but himself. And it's all going tits up already. He's suddenly got responsibility. So, right, okay, so he takes the kid with him. And he goes like, you know, do you ever speak, boy? And like, obviously not. So he's like, okay, you got a name? Okay, I'm gonna call you Caleb. Yeah, that's a nice name. I'm gonna call you Caleb. And they will come across somebody else. Another real life character. I'm just gonna, oh, not much in the way of boop with the cork on this one, is there? Cheers, y'all. This one's an older one. That was 10 years old. This is, oh no, that was 12 years old. This is 12 years old. They never stopped, did he? Never stopped. We have teepees out in the grounds of Kilt Mansion. And you want to hear these guys. You can't dance to it, you know what I mean? Oh, God. Anyway. They find a guy who's buried up to his neck in the sand. He's got a shaved head. Not a bald head, it's a shaved head. And this is a Del Gue, played by the great, I forgot his name again, Stefan Garash, who was an actor known on stage and to all the sort of indie filmmakers, but he wasn't known to the audience. But Pollack knew him, and I've tried a lot of people for this role. You're the best one for it. Do you want to do this role? It's in a big movie, but do you want to do it? And he went, oh, fuck it, I'll do it, yeah. You've got to shave your hair this week. And shaves his head and all that. And what's happened to him, the Blackfeet, well, the Blackfoot tribe, but unusually for the plural of an Indian nation, like the Apache tribe, and you've got the different variants, but the Apache, a group of them are called Apaches. Comanche. But the Blackfoot tribe, more of them, known as Blackfeet, kind of makes sense, doesn't it, when you think about it? So he's been caught and ridiculed by the Blackfeet Indians, who took his horses and took everything he had and left him there up to his neck in the sand. Considering his position, his predicament, he's in quite a good mood, to be honest. Now, this is a film which Sydney Pollack always said there's hardly any dialogue in it. By the way, the screenplay is written by, I did write this. Or did I? Yeah. John Milius and Edward Anholt. Actually, there's another writer as well whose name I didn't put down here. But John Milius, everyone, Big Wednesday and Conan the Barbarian. John Milius, brilliant. He was brought in to keep reworking the script, to put the dialogue in. Pollack says there's not much dialogue in this. There's actually quite a lot of dialogue in it, but it's sparsely, it's at intervals. It punctuates the movie, at random. But this guy is like Ellie Fanning in Predator Badlands. He won't fucking shut up, but he's great. And so you get like Robert Redford and Caleb are there, and they just come across this guy. And he's in good spirits, and they're going like, what the hell are you doing here? And he says what happened to him and all that. He said, anyone else passed by here? And he says something like, ain't seen no one in front of me. I can't tell what's going on behind me. He's fucking buried. Listen, Pilgrim, if you help me get my horses back, I'll be forever in your debt and all that. So they dig him out, and this guy won't fucking shut up, like. And he's funny. Oop. They find the Blackfeet that took his horses and all his stuff, and like Redford's like, look, we go in there and we get your stuff back. No killing, no violence, okay? Oops. So they go in, they leave the kid behind, but the kid does follow them, and they go in there. But this guy does kill the Indians, and Redford has to kill one as well, but in self-defense, because it's leaping at him, so he has to take this fucking guy out. So, oh shit, I didn't want to do this. And he even fucking decks Del Gue. So, you son of a bitch. I said no violence, look what you've done now. You crazy skin-headed fool, you. And I said, like, why have you shaved your head? Well, a baldy scalp ain't nothing to these guys. They don't want to fucking, take a baldy one. They want people like you with hair in your head and all that. Like, so I'm wise. And he scalps. Del Gue scalps these Indians, these Blackfeet. And like, Redford's going, what do you do with the scalps? He said, sell them to the English. He said, oh, London's all wallpapered with Indian scalps. That is actually true, to a degree. It isn't these days, I don't think. But a lot of English, traders and English, well-to-do, well-heeled people would buy Indian scalps as it's exotic. And yeah, London did have a lot of, Indian scalps. littered around the place, you know, on the end of mops usually. No. Cheers, y'all. So, as now you've got 3 of them together, but they come across another band of Indians, and like, unbeknownst to Redford, Delgue sees he's in it and he goes, shit. He takes the Blackfeet scalps up and he puts them on the saddle of Redford's horse, so he'll get the blame. And these Indians are flatheads, and they've been educated by French missionaries, so they're Christians and they speak fluent French. This is all true as well. This is very true. And they see the scalps and like Redford's like, fucking hell, what are they doing there? But they're made up. Oh, you killed Blackfeet. We hate the Blackfeet. They're against us. So you guys are okay, in our book. Come to our village. You're gonna have big powwow, peace pipey stuff like, and drink some whiskey, and learn French while you're there, and get married while you're there. This is Tim McIntyre singing. And so what happens is, like, yeah, they meet the Flatheads and their chief, and they're having a great old time. And they're sitting in the teepee and all that, and they're drinking this stuff. Getting in character now. And the chief's like, he's made up with all the... Delgue's doing the translating because he can speak French. And they go like, he's made up with like these scalps and all that, like. And he goes like, well, take them, take everything. I don't want anything. Take the extra horses. I don't need the horses either. And Delgue's going like, are you fucking insane, man? What the hell? I don't know what accent that was. It's like, what are you saying, boy? And the Indians are like, they're horrified. And Redford's like, what? He said, just take them. I don't need them. Give him. He's been hospitable to us. I'll give him something back. He goes, no. You've just offended him. He thinks you're a great warrior. So that's why he's hailed you as a warrior. And he's given you this meal and looked after you. And he's dead nice to us and all that. He said, now you've done that, he's got to do one of 2 things. He's got to give you a much better gift, or he's got to kill you. Oh, those Indians. They got some crazy mixed up rules, haven't they? Imagine that, like, you're totally naive about Indian customs. And Jeremiah Johnson isn't naive at this stage. Even in the movie, he's not. He knows Crow customs. He's met the Crow a few times now. He's friends with the Crow. Remember that? Initially friends with the Crow. So he knows about all their, some of their customs. But tribes are different, obviously. But that's, if you don't know this particular tribe's customs, you're like, well, cheers for that. Oh, you fed me. That's great. We've had a great time. We shook hands. We split the peace pipe. Here, have this. Oh, it's the greatest insult you could possibly have done. How are you meant to know that? There isn't at a lodgepole, a big, the rules of this tribe are thus, and obviously in their language and in fucking French, and maybe a bit of English down below. Are you meant to know? So they work out, look, well, I'm not going to kill you, but you must marry my daughter. She's the best gift I can give you is my own daughter. So he's like, you got to remember why Jeremiah Johnson's done this in the first place. To get away from shit like this. I don't want a wife. I don't want a family. I don't want friends. I don't need people at all. I just need a hawk and rifle and fucking something to shoot and then cook and eat. That's all I need. That's all I ask for. And now I've got friends and I've got a kid, a surrogate kid, and I'm now going to marry a woman. Are you fucking insane? You can imagine how pissed off he would be. But then you see her. My annoyance would not last long. Oh, God. She's played by Del Bolton, and her name is Swan. And she's not Native American. But as Pollack said, look, we interviewed something like 400 people. We screen tested 400 women for this, most of whom are Native Americans. And we would have gone with one of those, but she come in, and she has a look of a Native American. She's got the sort of cheekbones and the eyes, but she's genuinely, she's very nice, and she just won us over. The part was written for her. It just seems to be. Now, in reality, the real Jeremiah Johnson, John Garrison, did get a bride from the Flathead tribe, and she is killed by the crow. Anyway, so bear that in mind. So he marries her, and he's like, oh fucking hell! So I've got these in tow now. So now I've got to build a homestead for a family. But it's great. Redford is superb in this movie. You understand his motives for going up there. You understand all of his little transitions. And he does it with reluctance, but a great little sense of humour, which really comes across. And like, so that, he's not quite the hangdog. Oh, fucking hell, have I got to do this? Have I got to do this? Really? He's one of those guys that, or the way he portrays him, okay, this is another little hurdle, but I'll adapt, I'll overcome, and I'll learn to live with it. And it's a great little bit of kudos and a great sort of trait to bestow upon the rest of us. So Del Gue says, have a nice marriage, enjoy your honeymoon and your marriage night and all that, and off he goes. Hey, baldy head, rides off. And so now you've got Jeremiah Johnson and family. And now she can't speak English, the lad don't speak. In a way, it's perfect, isn't it? It's the perfect family. Yeah. They travel, there's bits of stopping off and that, and getting to know you, getting to know all about you. And then he finds this lovely sort of lowland, say lowland, it's not low, this is all high altitude, but it's way beneath the snow line, so you've got lovely trees and foliage, a lovely river running through, and he stops, he goes, this will do fine. And behind him are the mountains, the snow-capped mountains. We're in the shelter of these, we've got fresh water, yeah, perfect. So another big montage of, building the house, the log cabin, and it's great. It's done really well. You can see that they're chopping wood, they're pushing trees down, they're dragging things back, and she's helping really good style, and she's the best cook, and he's like, look, she makes cornbread or something and he's like, he walks off to camera and just goes, and just hides it in a saddlebag or something that. Oh no, I'm full. I've had enough. And then after a while, he's like, she's making these again, and he's like, no. I'm good at making biscuits. I'll make biscuits. We'll do biscuits, hey. And then later on, it's like, no, fuck that shit, lad. Caleb, remember where the traps are? I've shown you to put the traps down. Go and find some proper food, whatever we've caught. But they bond together. They begin. He has a family, and you see that transition. Obviously, nuptials have been had. She is very religious, and because of this, the missionaries and all that, so she does her prayers and all that in French and all this kind of. And he's like, "Will you stop with the religious rituals before a meal? Fuck's sake, And but then finally, after a long time together, she walks off and kind of gives him that kind of yeah, I'll be under this leather blanket in a minute, And he walks over there and he pulls the blanket back. There's no nudity in this film at all, but he pulls the blanket back and just goes, Lord. And obviously things have happened, because then you see she has a rash on her chin, chinny chin. And he's like, oh, what? And she just goes, oh, she points to him and goes, he's got his big mountain man beard. And he goes, oh. See, and he's taking Caleb to they're going fishing again, and you see him thinking about it. And then he cut back, she's in the doorway of the cabin, and she's like horrified because he shaved his beard off. And there's the fresh-faced Robert Redford, with his little pattern of moly, warty things. Fucking good-looking twat, though. Yeah. And his swishy blonde hair, and and she's like, what's wrong with you, woman? It's me. You don't like the beard? I've done this for you. So you see, he's changing all of his ways. He doesn't want to be beholden to anyone. Anyway, so happy home life. You see them playing. Oh, I forgot the name of the game now. It's like a sort of cross between lacrosse.
Ever get lonesome?
shut up, I'm talking here. There's a few quotes on the full soundtrack album to this. A bit of lacrosse mixed with rollerball, and the three of them are playing that, and they all fall together in a big huddle, and it's lovely. You realise you've entered a chapter of Jeremiah Johnson's life where I'm a hunter provider for these two, but they're going to help me as well. And we've built a happy homestead here. You know, one doesn't speak my language, but we get on. We've got our own unspoken patois together, and it's beautiful harmony. And then the US cavalry arrive. Yes. Now remember, this is not 1870s. This is 1860s. In the real life, after the American-Mexico War, Jeremiah Johnson, American Civil War, he did enlist Civil War, and then he enlisted in the 2nd Cavalry in the sort of 1870s or whatever, as a tracker or something like that anyway. And didn't have much of a career though. I think he was discharged very early from the cavalry. But anyway, in reality, this did not happen. The next set piece is not what happens at all. But these cavalry turn up, and they're under the command of Lieutenant Mulvey, played by Jack Colvin. Jack Colvin is the dogged reporter in the Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk TV show. He's that reporter who ends up in town just when the big green fucking thing has wrecked everything, but hurt all the bad guys, and then scarpered off. That's him. And so these aren't plains Indian fighting cavalry. They're wearing older uniforms. For someone like me who's wearing them, the US cavalry stuff, and they've got US cavalry gear all over the place, it's interesting because it's not the same sort of gear. It's earlier days. You speak any English? Barely, mate, barely. I speak whiskies. And he says to him, like, look, it's a great moment because, you, Jeremiah Johnson, we've heard all about you. We've come here looking for you because there's a party of settlers who've become stranded in the snow in so-and-so pass. Do you know where that is? And Redford can't answer at first, and they go like, the lieutenant goes to shake his hand, and Redford's like, doesn't offer his hand at all. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, it's just, this is the first time in years that I've heard, English language spoken this way. I just, and it's a great little moment. So he said, look, we've got these settlers. Do you know where it is? He goes, yeah. Through that pass over there. And he pointed to like these fucking, these massive bloody mountains. It's through that pass over there. It's going to take you about 3 or 4 weeks, whatever, I can't remember. It's about 200 miles, whatever. I forgot all the distances and time scales and all that. Good luck. I said, no, I think, Mr. Johnson here, you don't really understand. We need you to take us there. And alongside Lieutenant Mulvey, you have Reverend Lindquist, who's got a great face, and you do know him. He's got a great big fucking huge nose. He's got little fucking spectacles on, like his hair's all bedraggled, and his nose is very red because it's high altitude and it's freezing cold, and he's obviously. And they filmed it in these locations. So the real guy, played by Paul Benedict, has got a big red nose, and he's forever sniffing, and that's genuine. Paul Benedict is the guy in Cocktail, Tom Cruise Cocktail. He is the teacher with the big nose that, fail, to Tom Cruise's character, like, this guy wants to open a cocktail franchise in every shopping mall across the United States. Fail, F, and all that. That's him. The big sadistic fucking school teacher, the lecturer. And it's this guy. I thought it was funny anyway. He's in a lot of TV shows as well. But he's the Reverend Lindquist, and he's like, and he's kind of like, you. So Mr. Johnson, you don't want to leave these poor folks, there's women and kids out there to die, or worse. Because what I should have said, they're in Crow territory. All of this, you've got to remember that Jeremiah Johnson has smoked a peace pipe initially with paints his shirt red, and so he's friends with the Crow. He's done a bit of trading with them early doors, and so they tolerate him. but he's on their land basically, and he says that he's like, no, this is Crow territory. You know, you've got to be fucking careful here. Well, that's why we need you, Mr. Johnson. You know. So reluctantly, he goes, "Oh, okay, I'll lead you." And as he says goodbye to Swan, his missus, and Caleb, you guys take care, and I'll be back soon. You hear? And off they go, reluctantly on his part. And Reverend Lindquist keeps giving a little digs towards Jeremiah Johnson, but the lieutenant's kind of like, no, this guy knows what he's doing. We fucking need this guy. Don't piss him off. And they come across a Crow burial ground. All the bodies on the high scaffolds and all that. And like Redford's like, shit, look, we can't go through this. Well, why? Don't forget, he knows the customs of the Crow. And he's like, no, this is sacred ground. We have to go around this. Well, this is through the valley to get to where we need to save the settlers. And when we go around, well, we're going to have to go east or west. And either way, it's going to take us a long time. A lot more weeks of marching. And he's like, well, we haven't got that time to do it. We're going straight through. He said, no, you can't do this. You don't understand. Well, are they here now? Are they watching? And he's like, it doesn't say it, but like, yeah, they'll know if we've been through it. They'll know. And he said, look, I'm going to leave you here then. You're going to leave those people to die at the hands of savages, Mr. Johnson? You're going to do that? Set your conscience, boy. And he does go, and Redford's brilliant again. It's a very understated performance, even when the vengeful moments, which we haven't even got to yet. I said long haul, did I not? And he's like, again, like with Caleb, like with his wife, I didn't want any of this. He's a man that came away from all responsibility to live on his own, and he's not allowed to do it because he's a man with a conscience. This is not the real story. This is done for the film, but done on purpose. So he's like, right, I'll lead you through this, but you've got to keep quiet. Single file. Keep fucking quiet. Don't make a sound. We're going through this. So they do. And of course, you've got one cavalryman's coughing his head. And it's like, fucking hell. And a horse leans against the scaffold and it's like, fucking said, keep quiet. But they come through. And they do find these this refugee party who are stuck in the snow. And they're all waving to them. It's like, oh, thank you, Mr. Johnson. And he goes like, good luck to you. And you want to go up that way. And don't linger. The Crow don't like trespassers. And they're going like, look, they're thinking like, you're not taking us back. And he's like, fuck you. And he goes back on his own. And he comes back to the burial ground. And in a weird moment, but this is done for the movie. You have to give a reason. In the movie, they're giving a reason why his wife is killed. Now, in reality, it was his wife that was killed, but in the film, it's going to be his wife and Caleb who were killed. So he gets to the burial ground again, and in a really beautifully haunting moment, I'm going to get to the music actually. The music which you've heard, and I'll discuss in more depth probably later, is kind of lyrical and songs and a bit of dialogue, a lot of Indian stuff. It's mystical. It's a bit of pastoral. It's tranquil, but it turns here a little bit more sinister, a bit more dark, a bit more brooding. And he goes back through the burial ground, probably thinking like, well, I've done it once. I am not going to go all the way around just to put myself out of this valley and be late back for my family. So he goes through, but what he sees, and it's a great moment because it's haunting. He stops and he looks and he's listening, and the scaffolding seems different. There's something on the air as well, and there's a sense like, hang on, what's that there? and he sees on the skeletal remains that were already there, the blue trinkets and ribbons and necklaces of Swan, his wife. How have they got there? So he's like, shit! You know, fucking speeds his horse across the snowy wastes to get there. Think Gladiator when Quintus, my wife and son, you know, you'll meet them in the afterlife. No! And like, when obviously Maximus survives the assassination, the execution, and then fucking flees across multiple countries to get back to his lovely vineyard. And the soil markers, black as my wife's hair, you know. And of course they're dead. So he will get to his cabin, and yeah, they're dead. Arrow in the door, warning. Red paint daubed on his door, and there the two of them are scalped and lying there dead, scalped. And it's a quietly powerful, extremely devastating scene, because then you'll get a montage of time passing by. He puts the bodies on a bed and covers them up with like a great big bit of fairy stuff, fairy blanket, but sits there, and the camera will move around, passage of time. The doorway is behind him, so he's silhouetted against the doorway. Redford's face and those blue eyes shine, even in the shadows, they're shining. It's pin lights on his eyes, but it works supremely well. And his horse comes up to the door and just like leans in and says, "Hey, oi, let's go get them fuckers, eh? Let's go get some fucking vengeance. What do you say, pilgrim?" He's like, oh, fuck this then. And he burns the house down. He put down his roots there, new roots, new family, gone. Well, that chapter's over with them. Burns it down, but I'm coming for the crow. And then so begins what the legend of Jeremiah Johnson is built around this, his blood feud with the crow. And he tracks down the well, you assume these are the ones that did it. You know, they must be, for the sake of the movie. Don't forget, in reality, the crow killed his wife while he was away on a hunting trip. But we don't know the reasons why they did that. And then he, like, I'm fucking taking you guys out. And then did for years and years afterwards. In this, they give the crow a reason to do it. Now, Pollack says this, that, look, this was the late, 72, but we've had the 60s, we had flower power, the love rebellion and all that, like love revolution. We had anti-Vietnam War, we were giving black rights, gay rights, we were giving rights to Native Americans. He said, I couldn't really portray the crow as not having a reason for doing what they did. And of course the reason is that he went through the burial ground. I get that. It's not accurate, but in the course of this movie, it kind of works. It gives it a bit of balance. And so he tracks him down in a fucking tremendous scene. Cheers, y'all. Just in like his underbuckskins, his underbucks, not the big jacket and all that. Like, he's got the 50 cal and the 30 cal and the cap lock pistol, the Italian bounty hunter, which is a 45 caliber, by the way. Gets off the horse, walks through the air and the underbrush, and there's the... God damn it! He just walks up on him. He's not being covert, he just fucking walks up to them. And then in a scene which Daniel Day-Lewis does repeat in Last of the Mohicans, where he's firing two rifles, boom, boom, whilst running with him. Redford just walks up, goes, fuck off, boom, blows one away, another one, blows another one away. Fucking leaps at them, fights, fucking, he gets a tomahawk in his back, as he's beating one to a pulp, like, he leaps and takes one off a horse, just leaps at him, because I'm a dead man, I don't really care, I don't care what happens to me now, I'm going to kill as many of you as I possibly can. And it's a brilliant, fucking brilliant sequence of absolute uber revenge, very 70s. It's a quick sequence. He takes out about, what, 6 of them, something like that. One leaps on his back and he manages to pull the cap and fucking blows him away, like, and it slits one's throat and he fucking does a bit of scalping. I'm sure he does some scalping. And but it's all very quick edits. As Pollack says, this film was an excruciatingly tormenting shoot for the duration of it. But most of the film was made in the editing room, where we had to, like, it was long scenes of just a guy on a horse, you know, in the snow, or walking in the snow, sitting in the trees. Just long, languid scenes. How would you cut those? And then you get to the action scenes. You say, look, we're going to counterpoint this. All the languid shots, the tranquility and the beauty of the landscape, and we're going to make these scenes fucking dynamic. So cut them down, tiny little edits. But you're not talking the Jason Bourne, Paul Greengrass and all that kind of shit. This is, everything makes perfect sense. And it's uber violent. One gets away. You heard him a minute ago. So we'll come on to that now. He chases him and the guy just goes, he just stops, throws down his weapons and does his death chant. And like, Redford's run fucking after him and he stops and he's like, listens for a bit. And what it is, he doesn't kill him because, not because, you're giving yourself to me to die. Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to torment you all the more. No, it's because, like, I'm going to let you live because you're going to tell the rest of your fucking tribe what I did here. And if they fuck with me, I'm going to fuck with them. And I love it. I love it. An eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. My ideology has always been like that. It'll never change. And I love this. Again, it's very 70s. The way that Redford fights, you don't see it in movies now. He runs straight at, the next opponent. He fucking runs at him and like, bah, and the two of them go down, baff, baff, and they fucking throw each other around. But it's that run, that pell-mell collision. And like, you don't see Jason Statham doing that. You never saw Bruce Lee do it that way. You don't see that kind of fighting. But it's Mountain Man style. It's raw. It's almost street brawling. And that's how these guys would be. So he lets him go. And from that point onwards, the Crow are after him. But as I said earlier, I think, the Crow realised he's big medicine, So he's huge. He killed loads of us. He's a warrior. We can't mob him en masse. There'd be no glory, no honour in that. We go one at a time. So you get lots of different little attacks. And he'll be fishing one time and some Indian will ride up and he's like, oh, here we go. And the guy will slowly dismount, walk around the bank towards him. Knife. And then leg it! And then see what we're fucking fighting for a bit. Again, fast edits, fast flurries of violence, and it's brilliant. Dead exciting as well, and this goes on and on and on and on. And he will then he'll ultimately meet Del Gue again. Who's got hair now. He's grown his hair and he's got it's a bit, it's worse than my hairdo. It's like mine, but it's sticking up in every fucking direction. Like, everyone's heard about you, you're killing all the Crow and all that, there's a montage of this is a nice sequence, because otherwise the film would become very, you can imagine, if they did this nowadays, the entire movie would be about that, skirmishing endlessly with warriors sent to kill him. It would be about that, 2 hours of that. This tells a huge, bigger story. This is the chapter of this bigger story. But you get a montage of it's called violence montage. You just heard it, in fact. This is it. It doesn't sound like a violence montage, does it? But it'll be it's sort of just images in the background of Redford's face in the foreground, and images of violence, killing this one, shooting that one, and fucking clubbing this one, and all that, showing the passage of time and the amount that he's killing. There's a great one where, and this is not a montage. This is a separate scene. He's got a tent, a bivvy built in the snow by the banks of a bubbling brook, of really, really cold water. And as he comes out, like that, there's a mound of snow. A fucking crow leaps out of it. It's like, oh, fuck, takes him down. Fucking does him as well. Like, a lot of head bashings. It's not graphically horribly violent. You do see blood and gore. The ones he shoot, fucking, they get blown back, pulled back on the wire and all that. They're, again, very 70s. Think Rolling Thunder, shotgun blasts, people fucking flying through doors with shotgun blasts and all that. Like, oh, it's great. I'm getting excited now. Get to the violence and Kilt-Man suddenly, whoa, got a hard on. Although in this, you might never tell. My little dog's lipstick will leap out now. I hope not. So, and you get to this montage. You meet Stelgu again, who knows what his legend. It's like, and they ride together for a bit, so you get more talk and all that. Like, and he's going like, well, where are you going to go now? I mean, the crow are after you. The amount of people after you now, you can't live like this. Where are you going to go? And like, Redford just doesn't know. He's like, well, I could go that way, I could go this way, but this is what I do now. Where are you going? You know me, Delgu and all that. Like, so they will part company again, and our boy will travel even further again. Like, and I'm trying to think. Yeah, the nightmare of me doing film reviews like this is going through it bit by bit by bit. But this is a film of huge longers, where it's just travelogue. It's just people, on the landscape, and then a flurry of activity, a story shift. Oh yeah, I know where we're going. It's out in the frozen wastes again. He's gone high country again, like, and he's sitting there and he's cooking something like, on the spit and all that, like, and someone's coming towards him and all that, like, and he's like, who's that, like? It's old Bear Claw Chris. I forgot his fucking name. Chris Lapp. What a roll there. Bear Claw Chris Lapp. Will Gear comes up again like, hey Pilgrim, you come a long way. It says like, what you cooking there? And like suddenly he's going. Don't forget, Will Gear. Bear Claw is the one that trained him how to live up in the wilds, and he's going like, what you cooking there? Like, you particular all of a sudden? What about the company I keep and all that, whatever he says. Like, I've actually got the dialogue on the soundtrack, but so he throws in a bit of this. It's rabbit. You cook good rabbit, Pilgrim. Yeah, and you've come a long way. And like Redford just goes, feels like a long way. This is Milius writing this. It's not deliberately arch dialogue. It's not dialogue that you and I would expect. You want to be told things. Come a long way, Pilgrim. Feels like a long way. What does that actually mean? You want to hear more there, but you won't get that. Let's get to it. I'm sure it definitely gets spoken. Well, this is it. It'll be here. Let's listen. Motherfucker. You know what? How annoying! I've got the speech that he gives here. You bastards. Bear with me. Well, fuck you then. Oh, it's the previous track. I should say, there's a scene where Jeremiah Johnson goes back to the old house where the crazy woman is, and there's new settlers there. The Quaglins have moved in there. Very nervous people, and there's a few of them that are hiding away and like under the floorboards and all that. Like, And he goes, I'm not going to hurt you. Like, but where's the crazy woman? Oh, like she's gone. Where'd she go? You know, well, she's gone into the hills, and you know, it's showing the transition and people are moving into the territories and all that. Like, but they're still bloody well afraid of what can befall them. So I've got to check the time because I've got to get back on the old stagecoach later on this afternoon. You know what I mean. No, I'm sure this dialogue comes up here. I'm making a big point of it, but it's nice. And it encapsulates what I'm saying about like John Milius not being sledgehammering home, you know, what the character's really feeling and thinking. Because these guys wouldn't have that kind of open discourse. They would just speak, you know, mumble something. But it means a lot. It's, what doesn't get said speaks volumes, you know. Fuck's sake, it's not going to be on this either. I've got, it's 77 minutes of score here. Oh, you bastards. It wasn't there at all. Is it in? Oh, fuck it. It says like, what's on that? What's that? You know, you cook good rabbit, pilgrim. You know, come a long way. Feels like a long way. Was it worth it? Was any of this fucking preamble worth it? Was it worth it? Was it worth the trouble? And like, Redford just goes like, what trouble? And the two of them just laugh, you know, and just smile. And it's brilliant because, you know, what trouble? He's gone through a massive odyssey. It's weird how, in the course of reviewing this, I've spent an enormous amount of time with the sections with no violence at all. And then suddenly, the huge thing which made Jeremiah Johnson's name was his vendetta with the Crow. And like, we've barely covered that at all. It's very quick in the movie when it comes down to it. But after this sequence, the film doesn't end here. Jeremiah's gone higher again, like, and suddenly he sees, paints his shirt red, the Crow chief that he made friends with initially, with trading and just with a sense of humour and all that. Because when Bearclaw introduces him to paint his shirt red, he's not speaking English, and he goes like, look, the guy can understand you and he can speak English. He just speaks his own language to piss me off, basically. But he understands you perfectly well, you know. And obviously, Johnson's had this massive years-long feud with the Crow, killed hundreds of them, and he's like, "You're the chief. Oh, you and me gonna fight now?" So he's getting ready, and the chief just goes from a distance, just raises his hand, you know, open palm. Peace. Peace, pilgrim. Peace. Way! Joking! You know, and like, it just ends, the film just literally ends with he goes, and that's the end of the movie, with a bit of final narration. Folks, Jeremiah Johnson is a terrifically involving, invigorating, purely outdoorsy, makes you feel cold, makes you feel alive sort of movie. It moves you, it's funny, there is a sense of humour to it, and I did that because it's a very finely laced sense of humour, but it's definitely there, and Redford is brilliant at it. I wish Redford had done a lot more action movies. Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, of course. 3 Days of the Condor, hardly an action film, to be perfectly honest with you. Bridge Too Far, he's great, you know. Julian, you know, he's great, you know, in that movie. But this is his big opus, and riding horses, going through hostile landscapes, fighting, running in frozen water. It's an action-packed role in a film which often doesn't feel action-packed. It feels shivery and out there, you know. And you can smell the pine needles. You can smell the snow. You can hear the bubbling brook several miles away. The film is exquisitely shot by, oh God Almighty, Duke Callaghan, who did the Scalp Hunters for Sydney Pollack, did the Yakuza, and he did Conan the Barbarian as well. Yes, he lensed that as well. But this is gorgeous. Lovely wide Panavision. It's glorious. Pollack and crew really had a tough time making this because, as I said earlier, sure I did, they weren't in the confines of the backlot of a Hollywood studio, you know, a backlot. They were out there in the wilds of Utah in really, really bad weather, and it was hard to film it. The same things that befell Spielberg for Jaws. Okay, there was no fucking seas and that, like no big rubber sharks that weren't working. None of that. But skylines were changing, cloud patterns were changing all the time to try and match it up. It took 7.5 months to make this movie in the editing suite after the filming had been done, and they ran over with the filming. I mean, basically, after a while, Pollack said to everyone, look, I know I'm asking a lot from you guys, but this is the only way of making this movie, so please just persevere. We're in the freezing cold, we've got no money, we're gonna have to we've got one chance to make this shot work. Horses will not travel over thick snow. They need something stable, something stable beneath them or around them. And so a lot of times you see shots of Redford is leading a horse through a snowdrift. His feet are going out. The horse is like struggling. And Pollack said, well, look, the horses were trying to jump on him, to walk on him. They need something stable that they can see. Oh, I do apologise for this. Coughety cough stuff. The air's gone very cold, my throat's dried up. Oh, there's a solution. A solution, or maybe it's a problem to begin with. Jury's out on that one. So they put like a chain link fence on the snow for the horses to walk on, but it'd be very hard to. We can't rehearse this. We've got one chance to get this shot done right. But it'd be an important shot. Just maybe Redford leading a horse, turn around and looking at something in the distance, which is going to come towards him. You need that shot. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. I've not had the cough for a long time, have I? So I'll try and wind this up a bit now. But the film is spectacular in its cinematography. It's terrifically audacious in its editing as well. Editing was done by Thomas Stanford. The music is very lyrical. If you listen to the music, there's a lot of Michael Nyman and Damon Albarn, who did from Blair, who did a score for Ravenous, yeah, the Donna Pass sort of take on it, with Robert Carlyle. They take a lot of stuff from this score. Now, I love the score for Ravenous, but playing this score, I'm like, hang on, they've riffed on this a lot, but this score also riffs quite spectacularly for one moment on Elmer Bernstein's score for The Magnificent Seven. Listen to this. It's coming. But it's all fiddles and banjos and, you know, harmonicas and stuff like. But when this kicks in, it's building. Basil Polidorus for Quickly Down Under, but and Lonesome Dove would do a lot of similar stuff as well. Bum, 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 bum. That is from the Magnificent Seven by Elmer Bernstein. And that is definitely Tim McIntyre and Rubinstein saying, like, look, it's a Western movie, so it's our first actual score for the movie that we're doing together. Let's have a bit of excitement as well. And what's our most exciting Western score? Elmer Bernstein, Magnificent Seven. Let's do that. So that's a little throwaway. I'll do it again. And don't deny it. It is. Because that is in Magnificent Seven. Well, you haven't guessed already, I love this movie. It gives that feel to a bygone age. It feels like, without being, preached to, you are learning about life in the wilds at that time, and the mindset of these folk who would go up there. And don't forget, there was fucking thousands and thousands of men up and lived in the mountains and the hills, prospectors, trappers. What doesn't get shown in the movie is that he would have to have gone down to the Judith River and the ferry terminal there. There'd be a trading outpost there. There wouldn't be many more scattered around this Crow territory that he's gone into. He'd have to travel far to get the trading post. He needs raw lead and he needs gunpowder. These guys, for 30 caliber, 50 caliber, 45 caliber, they make their own shot. They make their own, steel balls, metal balls, lead balls, a lot of balls. And no, they might have a good supply, but they're going to have to replenish that, aren't they? So they're going to have to travel down. And this would be like, I don't know, every 2 months, 3 months, every 6 months maybe. And they're going to take stuff in to trade to get stuff back. They're not making any money unless they're selling wood or whatever, or building people's cabins, which is what the real John Garrison, the real Jeremiah Johnson did. Anything to make money, he would do it. And probably that as well. Mountain men get lonely. Mountain man's a lonely man. Lyric from the song. Cheers, y'all. But Redford is a revelation in this. Everyone's terrific, but Redford, he owns the role. He really embodies this outdoorsman who, but I've got a conscience. I don't want this conscience. I don't want people hanging on to me. But I can't help it because I won't, as she says, I won't leave a man behind without a rifle or some food or a horse, So Delg you, I won't leave you there up to your neck in sand and all that, like. And but it's a wonderful, complete encapsulation of a character, a mythical character whose legend only grows stratospherically. Every deed he does is going to be massively embroidered by everyone in the trading posts and the ferries and the towns and hamlets that build up in these areas. The hunters come back down, and when I say hunters, these are the ones who are like the seasonal hunters, not the ones who live up there all the time. And you've got the Indians who come down and trade, who are passing stories on as well. So in the spirit of the true West, legends just grow and grow and grow, and like everything is massively emboldened.
They say he wanted to be a mountain man. The story goes that he was a man of proper wit and adventurous spirit, suited to the mountains. Nobody knows whereabouts he come from, and don't seem to matter much. He was a young man, and ghosty stories about the tall hills didn't scare him none. He was looking for a Hawken gun, 50 caliber or better. He settled for a 30, but damn, it was a genuine Hawken. You couldn't go no better. bought him a good horse, some traps, and another truck that went with being a mountain man, and just said goodbye to whatever life was down there below.
You done? You done? The Hawken rifles in this they're not genuine. I've got to say that right now. They have...
Story.
Fuck off, will you?
Jeremiah
Johnson. They look the part, but then they're not. They've been massively modified and all that. So, but it's movies, you'd expect that. But the traps, the fairs, the log cabins. There's only a few interior shots in this, and do you know what? The weird thing is, they're even more amazing than the landscape shots, which are mesmerising, of course. But that Panavision, that ultra wide sort of aspect that you've got, you see like in Bear Claw's cabin, and then the cabin that Jeremiah Johnson builds for him and his surrogate family. It's wonderful. It's so it seems so huge. You want to live there. You do. You forsake your 75, 85 inch fucking screen and your hot tub and all that. You jib all of that, your double glazed windows and all fucking whatever. To live in a cabin that looks like that, you're like, wow, it's beautiful. It's genuinely rustically beautiful. And it feels huge. The outdoors always appeals to me. I've been outdoors, been out the house many times. Trained outdoors, did survival training. Oh, by the way, survival training for this film was, I've got his name here. Oh shit, when is it? Oh fuck, when is he? You're joking, I've got the guy's name here. Larry Dean Olsen did the survival training for all the cast. Taught them how to lay traps, how to build bivvies, how to use snow, how to live in the wild, how to what to eat, what not to eat, to make it look convincing on screen. Because you always get people like that nowadays, who are military experts, survival experts, and we all sit and watch these films and think, oh, I could do that. Well, I've done that, and I didn't fucking like it. didn't like it. I love the adventure of it, but no, when it comes down to it, could you live like this? Could you? There are people in America that do this even today, that live off the grid. And in America and in Canada, you can do it. In the UK, you can't fucking do it. You can't. UK is tiny. It fits into Texas 3 times. We've got woodlands, we've got hills, we've got mountains, we've got rivers, we've got lakes, we've got all sorts of fucking, geographical elements. But you can't hide yourself away. You can't. You can't do it. Oh, the Outer Hebrides, the Orkneys, the Shetlands. Oh yeah, you can do that. Channel Islands. But you, little tiny fucking island on an archipelago, right out in the fucking North Sea and all that. No fucking chance. No one will bother you there because no one's gonna fucking go there. It's too fucking cold anyway. But you can't do it in the UK. In America, you can. America is still a land of, I'm just gonna say opportunity and dreams. That seems like it's so shallow in today's world. But if you want to just take off, you can do it and never be seen again, and live in a huge swathe of land where you may never see another human being again, and just live the life you want to live. You could do that still in America and Canada, very definitely. And I'm jealous of that. Not saying I could do it. I need people. I need pubs. I need people around me. I'm not always the most sociable person. I'm renowned for sitting in pub corners with my earphones on and just chilling out, do my own thing. If I want to talk and have a laugh, oh, I will talk. I won't shut up. I'll have a fucking laugh, and that won't stop either. And I'll have a ball. I can do both, but to live alone up there, I don't know. It's a hard thing. The hunting ethic, ethos, you do it to survive, but you respect the land. Oh, I should have said, there is a terrific scene of a wolf attack. Some real wolves and some dogs dressed up to like wolves. And again, it's quite a harrowing scene. I mentioned before about don't worry about if you don't like animal in jeopardy. you think the horses, Jeremiah's horses are going to get taken by the wolves because they're attacking the horses, but he legs it back just in time to save them. But he has a ferocious fight with the wolves who are leaping all over him, tearing chunks off him. And but again, it's this fast editing which makes it work. As Pollack said, these fucking wolves and dogs didn't do a damn thing. We had to struggle to make them do anything at all, to make it look aggressive. We're throwing them on him, on Redford and all that, like. So, but don't worry about that scene. It is quite, it's a very aggressive, ferocious scene. But I'm an animal lover, and you won't be troubled by it. You see like a wolf get hit by the butt end of his hook, and it squeals, and you go, oh no! If that was you, and you're set upon by a pack of dogs or a pack of wolves, what are you going to do? Oh, I love fairy critters. Oh, no, eat me. You're not going to fucking do it. You're going to fight tooth and nail, against them. Of course you are. You'll do whatever you have to do to survive. And that's the whole point. Hunting, you may be massively opposed to hunting, as I am. You hunt if you're going to eat that food. And another proviso as well is like, you have to hunt because you won't eat if you don't. If you live somewhere in the modern world now and you can drive to the supermarket, the shop, you haven't got to hunt, have you? Well, be honest with yourselves, you haven't got to hunt. You do it because you like it, you do it. And hunters, hunters these days are cowards, Oh, I'll be in a hide somewhere, I've got my camouflage on, I've got infrared scopes, I've got all this. Multi-fucking, weaponry. High caliber, high power velocity weapons. Little deer, Bambi. Oh, and there's Mum there. What a life. Skull blown apart, high velocity round. Charming, fucking great. Did you need to do that? No, you didn't, did you? No. You can go down to town and buy provisions. You did it because you enjoy killing animals. That's why you did it. Hunting when you have to. First Blood, another great outdoors movie. Oh, let him do it this time. Great outdoors movie, First Blood, of course. It's up there somewhere. The Rambo movies are all up there. He can't go into town and buy a hamburger, can he? He can't, can he? He's a felon. He's on the run. He's got to live off the land. And when you're behind enemy lines, that's what you've got to do. If you're in a jungle or what, it doesn't matter where you are. If you can't go into a particular town to eat and you're not going to get an airdrop or a supply of food and rations, you're going to have to live off the land. Eating bark if need be, eating grubs and shrubs and weird stuff. Trust me, it's not pleasant. So all of you now who harbouring ideas, like, you know what? You made it sound fantastic. I want to leave society behind and fuck off to the mountains. You're going to want your creature comforts. You're going to want your mobile phone. You're going to want everything the things you think. This is the scourge of society these days. Technology, politics. Once you go up there and you're on your own, these songs are lyrical and great. And Milius's very minimalist, Milius's minimalist dialogue is brilliant. Pollack says and Redford say that this is basically a silent movie. I know what they mean, and you will know what they mean. There's not huge conversations take place in the movie, not scenes of discourse, but there's still a lot that gets said in the film. You just got a lot of scenes of quietness and just let nature happen. Listen to it and be thoughtful and reflective. But there's still a lot of dialogue in it. There is a lot of dialogue in the movie, but with Milius's deft hand on it, it's very character based and very of its time. Milius was young when he wrote this, But it was like, well, he studied, obviously American history, the West, the frontier, and all that. He read all stories about mountain men and all that. So he knew what kind of dialogue to use and how to use it effectively. Sparse and introverted, I think, is the way that the dialogue is written. But it also speaks volumes at the same time. There you go. Right. If you get it on Blu-ray, I don't think it's on 4K yet. It deserves a 4K release if it hasn't got one already. But I've got the Warner Archives Blu-ray of it. Commentary with Pollack, Milius and Redford. It's mainly Pollack who does the commentary. They're not together. It's intercut together. But the film was shot 70mm. It had an overture at the start and an entr'acte, an intermission with music playing, which I've got, of course, on the soundtrack. So it's one of the last films to have done that, I think. Someone's going to go, oh, what about blah, 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 what about this? And I can't remember. I think it's one of the last films, certainly the 70s, to do an overture and an entr'acte. And it's not that long a film. That's the weird thing about it. But because it was 70mm, and they thought, like, well, look, we've got this great score. Let's employ this, and it's gonna become even more elevated and become more mythical in its presentation. So they did it, and it works. And a Blu-ray captures all that. It's great. I love when films do this, because it's a chapterized movie, as all home video movies are. I know before you say. But the story itself is chapterized, but it has a momentum. It's a ballad. It's a tone poem. It does flow through these ebbs and flows and peaks and troughs. You've got tragedy. You've got heartbreaking atrocity. And Redford, Pollack, that little montage of him just sitting there in silent reverie at the loss of his surrogate family could have been handled differently. It could have been made really gut-wrenchingly heart-rending and, just heartbreaking and wailing at the skies and why? Doesn't do it. It's more powerful because he doesn't do it that way. I'm not saying that approach doesn't work, because it definitely does work. How it's handled and who the character is, who the actor may be, actors, actresses may be. But it works in this film, and it makes you stop and take stock. He didn't want this. He didn't want it suddenly, and this is life. Pollack says this when he watches this film back. Well, he's gone now. So is Robert Redford as well. Oh God, when you think about it, the passing of time. He said, watching it back, what I take from this is like, this is a man who tries to leave life behind, but life won't let him do it. But which I totally agree with. But then he says, like, he goes into the mountains, but the mountains will make their own demands upon him. And he kind of makes it sound like the mountains themselves are doing this, but it's humanity itself. It's humans that do this. Humans may go out there for, I long to be alone and just do my own thing, beholden to no one's laws, no families, no commitments, no responsibilities, just to me, myself, and my horse, and my little beaver. I've got a pet beaver in my pocket, Everyone needs a bit of beaver now and again, and so he says, like, but the mountain itself, the wilderness, exerts this power on him. But I don't know about that so much. I that's what he says. He made the movie, so who can argue with him? But I think this is the kind of film where you can take what you want from it. Well, whatever presents itself to you, and you will respond to this or that and not to other bits. I think he's just a man who's trapped. He goes away this is the film, not the real life story. He goes away, and it could be simple, it could be idealistic, and whoa, this is great. I'm fucking freezing cold. I can't get this fire started. I'm starving. I'm lonely. I want a woman. He doesn't want any of that. Like he's happy out there, but real society still inveigles its way into the last territories, the last frontier, and like because he's a man of conscience, he can't turn his back on that. Like, I'm gonna look after you. I'm gonna do this, and then forms bonds. But fate just says like, no. You know what you wanted, and I'm gonna make sure you get that. So I'm gonna kill off everything around you which means something to you, and you're gonna get what you wanted. It is funny. I've met people in America who I picked up the empty bottle then. I've met people in America who do live off the land, and they've said this to me. And they said this to me. They did. There was a guy, right? God, this is great. This is 1997, I think it was, when I was over exercising with the US Marines, and we were in San Diego at the time, like, and he sauntered into a bar, like, and he was a hairy bastard, let's be honest, but he was a biker for all I knew, and like, because of the accent, and I drifted off from our crew, and I was like just down the bar, and like, fucking like, whatever. I wasn't drinking this shit back in those days. I was drinking like fucking beers, and he got talking to us, and he said like, I live off the land. I only come down here to watch movies. And movies. Now don't forget, I've always been to movies. No matter what things I've done in my life, movies have been the thing that floats me all the time. Like, so I went to, oh, you didn't see movies, yeah? And we talked about movies. He's like, yeah. Anyone guess what that was? Yes. A small cat destroying our kitchen door. Yes. Clawdy bits. And gotcha at the time. And he said like, yeah, I come into town. He said, I don't have a watch. I don't exist on any of your time scales and all that. Like, I was like, okay, yeah. And but I come down, and like the only way I can tell how things have moved is watching movies. This is back in like the mid to late 90s. I reckon 97, I think it was. And he said like, I watch movies, and like that's how I gauge how society is now. I just pick a film and all that, like go and watch it, and then I come out a few drinks, and I went, you don't have a watch? No, I tell by the stars and the moon and the clouds and the fucking and I went, so how do you know when the film's about to start then? How do you know when the bar's going to be open? How do you know when to go back, to watch the movie? Just a simple question, and he was like, I like movies. What's your favourite movie? Pilgrim? I mean, I wasn't taking the piss. I wasn't. I just thought like, no, you say I'm going to watch, and you know. Time means nothing to me. Society means nothing to me. It still does. My point is this: it still does. No matter how much you think you're gonna turn your back on it all and go completely, feral, you ain't gonna do that. You're not gonna do it. You can't do it. You won't do it. The ones that do it, you don't know, because they've gone and they're living the life they want to live, up in the hills, the mountains. But the snow line, Jeremiah Johnson's. There's Johnson's as far as the eye can see. Bit of police academy there for you. Folks, I've gone rambling on this, but then that you'd expect it. Why wouldn't I do it? This is a film about rambling in the wilderness, and I've just done that. Oh, by the way, in case anyone's wondering about the Frankenstein's monster with Lakota Sioux feathers atop his head, atop his flat head. I just gave the clue away, didn't I? There you go. He's a flat head, and See, I've got no posters of Jeremiah Johnson. Sadly, I haven't got anything at all to do with it, really, apart from the movie and the score. That's it. And a lot of fairy bits. What a great werewolf costume this would turn out to be, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? By the way, it goes down to the floor. Before you ask, this was given to me, and I didn't want it, but I didn't want it at all. Do you know what fair it is? It's wolf fair. I'm not happy about it, but I thought, it was given to me. I did not hunt these things. Do not get me wrong. At the age of like 11 years old, I turned my back on hunting. I completely not want to do this. Even the minute I told you before, oh fucking hell, survival training, Jesus, we fucked that up completely. None of us, all our traps and snares caught nothing, but they knew that was a likelihood, so they had loads of rabbits there in little hutches on the back of a flatbed. You know, right, get these, wring their necks, skin them, fucking cook them. And none of us could do it. None of us. Oh, think about them being roasted. We were fucking roasted for that, like. But not many people can do it these days. You do it when you have to. Learn how to do it. And learning how to do it means doing it. And sadly, I have, but it's not a pleasant ordeal. Although, if you're hungry, rabbit tastes great. You cook good rabbit, Pilgrim. Rabbit is a sweet chicken. It isn't, but it tastes like a sweet chicken. It tastes lovely. Venison. Oh man, venison. Look, I'm a meat eater. The biggest hypocrite the world's ever known. But again, out in the wild, I'm not going to go and kill that animal, that deer, that buffalo. I'm not going to do it. Unless I have to. And someone's got a really good griddle, you know, and some proper sauces. You know. Folks, Jeremiah Johnson. It's one of the best outdoor movies you're going to get. Action, reflection, great characters, great sparse dialogue, wonderful score, very evocative. It's funny, you know, people say the word evocative about movies. I use it a lot. But a film can be set on a studio, and it could be like meant to be the Carpathian Mountains and Dracula's there. Very evocative of the Romanians and the Transylvanians and the Gypsies, and very evocative of all that. Here's a film which is evocative because it's actually in the fucking places it's meant to be in. There's the real location. You can hear the howling wind. You can see the snow. Everyone's frozen cold. You know, it's evocative because it's totally genuine and realistic. I love it. A deep dive into the snowy wastes of Montana. Although it's filmed in Utah. I think the location scout travelled. Travelled something like 26,000 miles, scouting all the 100 or so locations in Utah to be used for the movie. We film a lot in the UK now. A lot of American films are filmed in Liverpool, Glasgow, London, Edinburgh. But Liverpool, which is just, it's literally, from where I'm sitting, it's 3 miles behind. It's 3 miles behind you there, behind you guys. 3 miles that way across the Mersey, and you're in Liverpool. In fact, it's 2.5 miles from here to Liverpool docks itself, like. So, and many films are filmed there. You don't travel around. You're never gonna clock up that amount of mileage traveling around the UK. We don't have that amount of mileage in the UK at all, and yet we still got tons of little locations, little rivers, little foresty bits, old London town, old Manchester, old Birmingham, old Liverpool, old Leeds. You got all that kind of crap. But in America, well, no, that valley just doesn't quite fit the bill. Put the camera here and oh no. Right, let's pile up again. I've got another 100 or so miles to another valley. This one's better, but no. The time we're going to be filming this sequence is going to be right, another 100 miles. A location scout for Hollywood. What a job! They're the real outdoorsmen. They're the new mountain men. A location scout for Hollywood, for the studios, going out to the real places.
Being a mountain man.
Mountain man.
Said goodbye to whatever life was down there below.
Shut up, Robert. Folks, I have been over Shelby Kilt-Man. Please, in the meantime, it's ever like wrap your furs around you and snuggle up in between time. Please keep it Celtic, and I'm going to see you all above the snow line. Have I got sort of viciously Klingon eyebrows? My daughter says I've got no eyebrows. I seem to have one. I've got one. It just goes off at a vicious angle like that, yeah. Oh, folks, getting old, Getting old. And I'm still getting spots. That thing there. Why? Who put that there? If that grows and becomes a big fucking thing, elephant man, a big fucking crater out there. A big facial bunion. To all facial bunions out there, may you be popped in peace. And old Jeremiah, they ain't sure if he's dead. Hang on, what's the quote now? They ain't sure he died. Some say he never will.